Hello everyone, this is Gaming Art Craft. Please subscribe to my channel. If you like the content that I'm bringing on my channel, put likes and comments down below, and stay in tune to anything coming up with Gaming Art Craft with Coppercube 6.7.3. Okay, so here we go. Um, I have another behavior that I'm introducing to the community. Um, I always want to say thank you to the Discord community, the forum, the Facebook community, um, the Game Joke community, and everybody that's putting in the hard work for Copper Cubes 6.7.3. I'm always trying to bring in new content on my channel and on my website. I just want to say thank you to all the people that support, and I appreciate your help. I try to give as much tutorials and much help as I can um, with Coppercube. And what I have here today is a multiplayer behavior per server from Back4App. Let me show you what it looked like. Give me a minute. I'm gonna drag it over. Okay, so this is Back4App. You can log in and create a account. www.back4app.com, and once you create an account, you'll get uh, a window like this where you have to build an app. You hit this icon right here that's in blue, and it highlights and it says build new app. Once you build this your new app, you're building your server, your backend server. Um, that's what you're building for your multiplayer. Okay, and once you build it, it's gonna look like this. This is your server, and this is how the way your server is going to look. Okay, so first thing first is create an account, and once you create the account, you have to build the app. Okay, so we're going to go through it, and I'm gonna explain how the way it works, and we go from there. But we're gonna come back to this right here. We're gonna come back to this, and I'm gonna explain how the way this is built in the Back4App server. So, and you're gonna have this as a free plan. You could do a free plan. There's there's different choices plans you could do. So let me hit the upgrade so I can show you the prices. The first one you can start is the free plan. 25,000 requests, 250 megabytes data storage, 1 gigabyte transfer, and 1 gigabyte file storage. And then don't click on the annually, click on monthly. Then you have the MVP plan, which is $25 per month, 500,000 requests, 1 gigabyte data storage, 250 gigabyte data storage, 50 gigabyte file storage. Then is paid as you go, which is the $100 one, which give you more requests and more data storage and data transfers. Then you have the dedicated plan, which is 500, which give you 10 CPUs, 14 gigabytes, 8 gigabyte data storage, unlimited requests, which is probably one of the best server plans and everything. And if you need a custom one, they have more options. Okay, so just explaining how the way that goes. But right now I'm creating a free plan for Back4App for the multiplayer. Okay, one thing you need to understand about the multiplayer right here, this is the multiplayer, but this is just a testing. This is a testing phase. This is no assets where it's a character, which you can make anything you want. If you want to make like a fighting game, you just need two knobs. Going to be player one and player two. So you got player one and player two. So if it was like a fighting game, like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, they're going to be in that knob, and then the game starts. Okay, and then everything has to be labeled the way it is. So you got camera 1. Right now the camera's not attached to the knob. The only reason why I didn't attach it to the knob, because I had some glitching issues. Every time the knob moved, the camera kept glitching across the surface. So I had to remove the camera from the knob. But right now, it's just the camera's just a still camera, and the knobs interact. They move WSD movement, each one, and you'll see that. So the knob has to be labeled the way it is. Player 1 model and player 2 model. It has to be labeled exactly how the way it is. When it comes to the plane doesn't really matter. It's just a ground. And then in the scene, you go to scene, behaviors, and then this is the behaviors called Back4App multiplayer. That's the one that you're going to use to interact with the multiplayer, because the behavior has the all the information that it needs. And then once you do that, you got to hit file, and you got to go publish website, WebGL. I'm sorry, file publish WebGL, and then you have to put it on the web server. And then that's how you're going to start your multiplayer. So let's go back a little and go back to Back4App. So once you create your once you create your account for Back4App, you're gonna go to where it says database right here, database. And once you're on database, you have to create 2 classes. One class is going to be called game room, and the other class is going to be called player. Okay, so database, you click on class, and once you click on class, you're going to have to create your role and everything. You understand what I'm saying? So you click on class, you can add your role by clicking add role, and then you're going to have to name it game room. Okay, so it goes like this. Game room, when you click on game room, you're going to input all the information in there. Let me see. Let me go like this. Yeah, it's going to pop up like this in the columns. Okay, so the first one, when you create it, it's going to be called game room in the fill class, and then your first name, you're gonna call it room name, and that's going to be a string, right? And then you're going to hit add, and then continue to the next one. All right, so the next one, you're going to create an array, and that one's going to be called players. Okay, and then you're going to hit add, and then the next one's going to be a boolean. A boolean is like for like true and false, or off and on. So you're going to call this one player 1 connected, and put default value as false, and then add. Then the next one, you're going to call it player 2 connected. You're going to have to put the default value as false, then you're going to add. And then you go to date, and then you're going to call this updated at. Updated. Oh, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Updated at. Okay. Did I spell that right? Okay. And then you're just gonna hit add. So once you hit add, you're gonna have a whole column. Update, create it. I'm gonna move to the right a little bit. Room name as a screen. You're gonna have player, player connected 1, player connected 2, and update. So you're gonna have this row. So when you open up your URL and you hit join game, it's gonna fill up this column and it's gonna show information of the player connected. It's gonna show information of the player. It's gonna say player 1, and it's gonna say true in the balloon that is connected. Okay, and it's gonna pop up in the server, and it's gonna, even though it says 0 right here, it's gonna say 1, which means it's connected. Okay, next row is gonna be player. Okay, next row is gonna be player. That's gonna be the field class. You're gonna hit column, right? And then once you hit column, you're gonna create a screen, and then it's gonna be called user ID. And then you're gonna hit add. The next one is gonna be number. And this one's gonna be called player number. And then you're gonna hit add. Okay? And the next one's gonna be objects. And you're gonna put position. That's gonna be called position. Position. And then you're gonna hit add. And then the next one's gonna be called rotation. Rotation. Then you're gonna hit add. And then after that, you're gonna call the last one is connected. Is connected. Then you're gonna hit add. Now, after you hit all that, you're gonna have these two field classes, and they're gonna show up here. Now you have your server set up and your database set up for the multi-game. Next is connecting everything. Okay, so how you connect everything? You go to your dashboard. You go into where it says settings. Let me see. Am I right? Right, and then you're going to see all this app name, game room. That's the server name. It's going to show all the information and all that. But in order to see everything, you got to go to app settings, service key. And these are all your service keys. This is your application ID key. You're going to need this one. You're definitely going to need this one. And then you're going to need your JavaScript key. These are the two important ones you're going to need. Application key and JavaScript key. Because it's a behavior and you're connecting to the JavaScript. Okay? So, with that being said, I'll show you a little bit of the behavior and how the way you set up the behavior on the Back4App. So hold on, give me 1 minute, and I will show you. All right, so you go edit. This is the behavior. So the behavior name is going to be behavior Back4App multiplayer. It's going to be Back4App perf server configurations. This is where you take the information from here, application ID, and then you're going to put it here. And then you take the JavaScript key right? And then you're gonna put it here, okay? And then you just need the per server URL, which is gonna be https pers API dot back4app.com. And then everything else is set the way it is, so you have no worries. Um, Once you set that up, you just got to make sure you go into before you enter this, you got to go into the server. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Once you enter the application ID and the JavaScript ID, make sure you hit plugin and reload extension, because you're saving it, so it got to read the server keys. So make sure you go to edit, plugin, reload, and verify extension plugin so it can read the server ID. All you need to do is put the behavior in scenes. That's it. Okay. So moving on. The next thing you have to do in Back4App is hold on, give me a minute. The next thing you have to do for Back4App is you gotta enable the server. Okay, so you go to server settings, core settings, and then right here you got to see check everything, make sure it's good. That's good. You go back, and then you go to manage per server. Go in there, you check it. Um, the best requirement per server is 6.2.0 per server, which is fine. You hit save, you're good there. And then the most important to activate the server is server URL live query. Click on here, and then you're going to hit activate Back4App subdominion, which is going to give you a name, game room, this one, and then you're going to activate the live query. It's just the user, the game room, and the player. You hit save. Now your server's ready. Your server's ready, and then your game is ready. Once you have the behavior and you have the application ID key and the JavaScript key. Once that's done, right, then you hit File, Publish, WebGL. Once you have it as a WebGL, your next step is to go into your WebGL. So you go into your WebGL and you have to enter something in the HTML. So once I publish it, it'll say multiplayer.html. You got to change it to index, and then you got to open up your WebGL, because you got to put the SDK, the per server SDK, into the index WebGL. So it's going to come out like this, but these are additional. These two right here, these two script lines, you have to add that into the index HTML so it can read the per server. So just put that in there, and it's going to read the per server, and then you're good to go. You take your Copperlight data and your index file, the HTML file, and you load into a web server. Whatever web server your choice, I'm using Hostinger. You put that into the web server, and then you have your multi-app ready. Okay? So what you're going to get once you open up the WebGL, you'll get WASD movement off the cube on player one. Then you go and open up an incognito website, and then you'll get player two. First you have to join, and then it'll say player one connected, and then once you join player two incognito, it'll say player two connected, and then you'll see the movement on both knobs. So I'm going to give you a test so you fully understand. So I'm going to type in the website. And I'm going to open up another website. And this one's going to be incognito. There you go. There you go. So you got incognito. You got incognito. And then you have player one. So once you enter player one and hit join game, it's going to say joining, then it's going to say connected. Then this is player one. You see it's moving left, right, down, up, left, right, down, up. You're going to see it's moving, right? Now you see on the left side it says connected blue. Player one, connected as player one, use WSD movement for blue. And you see the movement here. Okay? And then next, you go to incognito, right? Hit join. And then once you hit join, you see player two. Down, up, left, right. Player two's connected. You see on the left side, it's red. It says player two connected yellow. Connect that player two, use WSD, and then you're going to see the movement of player two in incognito. See? And then if you want, you just go back to player one. There you go. And then that's how the multiplayer is going to work. We're connected to two players and everything. And again, like I said, it just takes this per server, and it's going to take just putting the behavior inside scene, creating a website, loading your information on the website. Once you load the WebGL on the website and you set it up correctly in the index HTML, it's going to show up on the window, say join game. And it's just two knobs right now, but you could put any game in there. You could put any character in there, and it could be anything, a fighting game or whatever type of game that you think that it's just going to work like that. And then you're just going to see on the web server, right? Now you see on the web server that it was connected. Now you see where it says one, it was connected. That means that it worked. That means that both players was connected, because you see it right here that it says true and it says player two true. So if both players was connected, it shows the date when it was connected, it shows the ID, and you have your multiplayer. Okay, you can come in here. You could, if you feel like it says if you can't enter the room, and if it says game is full, the room is full. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. If the room is full, that means that it's still active on the website, which means you come into the server and you just hit false, and then you can start all over again. But this is how the way you do it. This is how the way you connect to the multiplayer. All you need is the behavior, and and take the WebGL, put it on the server, and you have multiplayer through Back4App per server. This is my way of doing it. Everybody has their own way of doing it. I already had this ideal that I wanted to do it this way, and it worked for me. But you tell me how the way you think about it, how the way you feel about it. Just put comments down below. If you have any questions about it, please ask me. But I just want to give you a tutorial on the Back4App. I will be putting it on gamingartcraft.hio. The URL is available, and I will be upgrading the server so more people can connect to it and play with it. Also, I have two additional behaviors that I haven't introduced yet, but I will be testing it. I have a 5-player um, connection, and I have a 10-player connection. So it'll be similar to the 2-player connection, but I have a 5-player connection and I have a 10-player connection. So more people can join in on whatever it is. If it's a FPS game, a third player game, if somebody want to go come in as an FPS player, y'all can play against each other. So this is just my way of doing the Coppercube multiplayer, and I just want to introduce this to the Coppercube community. Tell me what y'all think. I appreciate all y'all for listening to this tutorial and giving me the time to explain the multiplayer, and I love making games on Coppercube, and I just want to say thank you all for supporting Gaming Art Craft, and hope to see you next time on the next content that I bring on my channel. Thank you so much. Love you all.